Hi there everybody, Big L here. Um, this is kind of a somber day for everybody in North America. It's the 11th of September, so 15 years ago today, well, I can remember what I was doing in my office because we were away from customers. We used to have the radio on all day long, and usually it was just music. But 15 years ago today, it was just a news feed coming out of North America, and we all know what happened, and so my thoughts are always with the families of those people. Over 3,000 people died that day for no reason other than the fact that they were not even Americans, you know. It was an attack on America, and whoever suffered, it didn't matter a damn. It was a really, really strange day. I didn't know my wife at the time, so it was really surreal listening to it unfolding on the radio, and just the enormity of the horror and the terror and the evil that was just being perpetuated. And for me, as an atheist, it's another one of those things that just points to how bad, in my opinion, you know, I'm not criticising anyone who has religious beliefs, but it kind of points out the evil of religion from my point of view. You know, find that of all of the people who died that day, the ones who were the most devout and most believing were the ones who carried out the atrocity. They earnestly believed that they were doing the right thing by their God, which I just can never reconcile in my own mind. I'm an open-minded, rational thinker, but it's just nonsense. But that day, and it was before I'd met my wife, or as it was at the time, her nephew, Aidan, was born that day. So she didn't know anything about it, about the atrocities that had happened in North America, or the United States, let's say what it was, until the next day, because her first nephew was being born, and tomorrow, or rather today, the 11th, he celebrates his 15th birthday. And every time we celebrate his birthday, I think about those poor people who died in New York on that day 15 years ago when he was born. And I look to my nephew, who's a fine young man, who's a compassionate, caring, intelligent young man who cares about people. And I look and I think, virtually everything that happened that day that will ever stay with you is just evil and horrible. But I look at my nephew and I think, but one thing came out of that day that wasn't tainted by evil, and that's a fine young man who'll become a good man. Anyway, listen, to everybody in North America, and especially the United States, and the people in New York, we can have our differences, opinions about all sorts of things, but the simple fact is nothing is so important that you would kill someone else to prove your point. So I send my sympathy to the families of those 3,000 odd people who died that day. I think about them all the time, and the fact that we can do such evil things as human beings. We are the most dangerous animals that have ever lived on this planet, and you know, for all of the good things that we do, we're capable of doing some really, really evil things. So my thoughts are with the people of the United States of America today. I can't even start to think what it must be like to live and be threatened and terrorised and attacked just because of the fact that you live in a specific country, you know. So my thoughts are with you all, and with that in mind I wanted to show you just a few bits and pieces that I had recently picked up. I mentioned that I'd picked up some quarters, but among that there were a couple of old Barbour Dimes dates I didn't. So just my apologies to the people of Philadelphia, just 1911 plain. This one's in nice condition. These are both probably a bit fine, but hey, they're over 100 years old. And a 1915. And then, you know, I mentioned I'd picked up about a dozen or so quarters. I think I may have mentioned 8 or 9, but by the time I got them finished it was a dozen or so. So quickly running through these ones, probably about fine condition. 1932 Philadelphia, 5.5 million, so not the hugest mintage ever. That's that one. A 1934 Philadelphia, again in about fine condition. I think I mentioned that I'd ordered a 1937, but I was obviously talking out of my arse. It's a 1939 Denver. Nice getting some of these older ones. 1941 Philadelphia. This one probably in about, well, more than fine condition. I've kind of graded it for all I know. Very fine. It's a nice nick. And a 1944. Just fast forward if you're getting bored, because the design's the same. Don't blame me, it was a US mint. 1948 Philadelphia. As I mentioned last video, or the one before, that I'm going to try and put a date run of these ones together. I think, like, leaving aside various varieties and all the rest of it, I think there's about 85 altogether, different years and mints, and this takes me up to about 40 or so. So plenty of time and plenty of scope to keep on working on this little collection. And of course got my old red book here. That means I can start looking at the various different varieties. This one, 1952 Denver. And finally, this one is a really nice one, probably in uncirculated condition. 1961 Denver. Had those ones last week. 1960-61 Philadelphia's, I think they were. But these are crackers. Really nice condition. So that's me up to date. I think I may have one more US constitutional kind of heading this way sometime soon, but nothing much. It's another quarter, I think, but hey. So you'll see that in due course. Other bits and pieces coming my way soon. I've got an 1826 UK shilling, which looks to be a nice nick, and a few crown size coins from mainly Europe, so I'll let you see them in due course. In the meantime, however, please like, subscribe, let me know what you think about these coins. Good, bad and different comments as always. And as I say, my thoughts are with everybody in the United States today. It's I hope it's not a horrible day. It's the anniversary of a horrible time, but I hope that you can remember that there are good people around this planet, and as I say, come what may, we can have our disagreements, but I don't feel so strongly about anything that I would ever lift up weapons to try and kill another human being, and I can't believe that anybody ever would. However, that's enough of that. I'm sorry it's a bit maudlin, but hey, it's a serious day. Everybody take care, and I'll be in touch soon. You take care. Bye bye.